I got to
How is
ask.
he looking? He's looking. I mean, didn't look the greatest at the last East versus West. He looked actually kind of deflated
He
and
looks
small.
looks
So
pretty rested. Looks
I
pretty
wonder
rested.
how long is it going to take him to get solid again?
Probably about 2 weeks.
When is the match?
Devon has realized that he will just get one more chance at Levan, his final opportunity at becoming the #1 arm wrestler in the world, and he isn't going to take it lightly. That's why we may not see the third Levan match for at least one more year. To be precise, at one moment, Devon said we will see that match in 16 months' time from now. That is a very long time. And he also knows that being the biggest version of himself doesn't necessarily mean that he's the strongest or the best version of himself. For the third Levan match, he would surely want to be over 300 pounds, but he would like to be there lean. And Devon is doing something which he's calling the biggest step forward, and that is finding a different way to train his pronation, which I'm sure he will be revealing in the future videos on his channel. When John Brzezinski heard this, he started laughing and he told Devon that he needs to give up on the riser training. It is not doing him any good. He should focus just on his pronation and his side pressure.
I'm doing some different stuff with pronation now. This is, I think, my biggest step forward.
You think?
Yeah, I think.
You're killing everybody with that pronation.
I'm waiting
shit.
for next trends. I'm waiting.
And that's why both Robert and John told Devon that he may need some side pressure training finally. Against other opponents, he never needed that because he could simply take their hand and finish the match with a top roll or with a press if needed. But he didn't really need side pressure. But against Levan, he will need that. John talked about the first round in the second Levan match where Devon's pronation stopped Levan, but he needed more side pressure to keep Levan away from center and avoid his press. Devon said that he will be training for a good posting, good top roll, and a good hook to prevent Levan's flop. That's his plan. 16 months from now, I am going all in. And while talking about Levan Saginashvili, even John mentioned that Levan, compared to before, looks somewhat rusty recently. He said that Levan looked slightly deflated compared to the previous appearances. He did not seem fully sharp. He wasn't displaying the same amount of dominant physical aura the fans are accustomed to seeing. Devon said that Levan probably only needs a week to return to peak form. That's how much he respects Levan Saginashvili. At this moment, Coach Ray was saying that the Vitaly versus Levan match cannot happen in December because the December East versus West event is in Vegas. But then Robert Baxter told Coach Ray that Vitaly will get the visa. It is not an issue. In the beginning of the live stream, they discussed John Brzezinski's return, and John does not have, at least as of now, any intention to come back to arm wrestling. He said he has barely arm wrestled recently. He only occasionally touched some weights, did some push-ups, and it felt dramatically weaker than during his active years. He believes that rebuilding to a competition level, it would require an enormous amount of time and effort, which he isn't willing to give at this moment. He was also joking that he would need someone very low in the rankings just to create a competitive match. Maybe he wasn't joking, but Coach Ray was when he said that I am ready to be that guy, the low-ranked guy that you can have a competitive match against. And the way John was having fun with Coach Ray after that, it felt slightly disrespectful to me. He was like, man, not you. If I lose to a guy like you, that would haunt me forever. I cannot do that.
It would have to be somebody really low on the rankings to even make it a competitive match for me.
I accept it.
Right. Well, someone as low as you, I don't know if I would. I would.
Yeah, I know it's too low. Too low.
What would I do with myself if you beat me, Ray?
That is like No,
I would go through the rest of my life going, what the hell? This is how it ends? Get beat by Ray.
So John, as of now, is about 215 pounds. Devon suggested John to have some practice pulls with Auden Larratt. And John said that he's so weak at this moment that Auden will mop the floor with him. Devon mentioned that Auden is about 220 pounds. He continues to get stronger, bigger, in a better shape every time. He understands the setup exceptionally well. If somebody is lacking in the setup, Auden will surely punish that arm wrestler. He possesses his own style. He can arm wrestle in Devon Larratt style, but he has his own style as well. And somewhere during the interview, Devon mentioned a good point about the shoulders square rule. He said that that rule was probably created when the elbow pads used to be in front of each other instead of being in a staggered position as they are right now. And because of that, straight line pad positioning, the shoulder square rule was there. Now it doesn't really need to be there. You should be allowed to move your arm wrestling shoulder in a little bit. I'm not sure when this rule was created, but this discussion sounds interesting for sure. So John Brzenk, Coach Ray, Devon Larratt, they all will obviously be attending East vs West 4, which is going to happen this weekend. Use code Pradeep to purchase the tickets at 5% off price. Even if you want to go there in person, you can use the link in the description or use code Pradeep to get 5% off anything. They once again talked about the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu legend Gordan Ryan. His arrival at East vs West, he will be there doing everything that he wants to do as a guest. And they even called him the John Brzenk of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Devon said that Gordan is obsessed with small details in his sport, obviously. So maybe he can get interested in arm wrestling too. That's Devon's plan, and he wants John Brzenk to meet Gordan Ryan. Devon Larratt's fascination around Andrey Smaev continues. And we are going to talk about Brian Shaw as well in this video, so stay tuned. Devon said that he has been closely following Smaev's training videos, and he believes that Smaev is developing something interesting. Smaev is clearly performing arm wrestling specific exercises. Devon said that Smaev's strength levels are already astronomical. His hand size, his wrist size, it's almost inhuman. He possesses the kind of physical tools that instantly makes other arm wrestlers nervous and uncomfortable on the arm wrestling table. So that's why Devon said that he is really surprised that, or he doesn't even really believe it, that Smaev doesn't want to compete, because otherwise why would he train for arm wrestling? And Devon thinks that Smaev can potentially emerge as one of the most dangerous newcomers to the sport, just like Denis Siplenkov did back in 2006 when he defeated Andrey Pushkar on the left arm out of nowhere. But John was saying that being strong enough isn't really enough to get to the top level in arm wrestling. You need that speed and explosivity as well. Yes, massive strength is valuable, big hand and wrists are advantages, but speed and explosiveness cannot be taken away from the game. It is a must at the top level. And that's why John thinks that ability to instantly access your strength is important than the raw strength itself. He said that there are many strong guys that never become elite level arm wrestlers just because they cannot efficiently and quickly apply their power on the arm wrestling table. Coach Ray also said that many of these guys do not become elite arm wrestlers because they do not enjoy competing. They have to accept losses, they have to handle everything publicly, including practice losses and stuff like that, and learn under pressure. Even in this live stream, they talked about the future China arm wrestling event, the East vs West event. All of those details we have already discussed in the previous videos, so we're not going to repeat that. Then Yoshinobu Kanai versus Irakli Saginashvili. John Brzenk has had super matches against both of them, so he's probably the best guy to answer this question. And his answer was shocking. Not shocking, but a little bit surprising. He said that if the match stops anywhere in any position whatsoever, Irakli is cooked. He cannot press through Yoshinobu Kanai's King's move. So John thinks that Yoshi is the favorite. Irakli is explosive. He can definitely win the match with a flash pin, but not if the match stops. Because if it stops, it's Yoshi all day long. John said that Petro has probably the best hand and wrist in the world. And if he lost his wrist against Yoshi, there is no way Irakli's wrist is going to survive. Devon also agreed with this analysis. Devon respects Yoshi's ability so much that he keeps on saying that in the future, Yoshi will be the 105 kg champion. Michael Todd versus Oleg Petrenko. Devon said that Michael has already made weight. He's still training hard. Yes, he's extremely busy with some content creation and promotion of this upcoming event, but he is still dialed in on this match. He's maintaining impressive strength despite his weight cut. John Brzenk thinks that Petrenko's performance against Todd Hutchings was one of the most impressive things that he has ever seen. But yet, Devon Larratt made Petrenko look silly. So if Devon's King's move or just his pure top roll can do that to Petrenko, maybe Michael Todd's King's move can also stop him. And then the discussion on Brian Shaw. So they discussed why Brian Shaw is not really happy. We heard that he stopped responding to Devon Larratt's messages because apparently Devon didn't teach him well or something like that. John said that Brian Shaw is bigger than the criticism. He won't let it affect him. You need to have a lot of love for the sport if you want to continue. But the question is, does he have that love for the sport? The question also is Brian bigger than the criticism? Because whenever he addresses the people who criticize him, he takes about 2 minutes to talk about them and maybe just 20 seconds to thank the guys that support him. So the criticism is definitely getting to him. Devon Larratt said that Brian Shaw's challenge isn't strength. It's developing the specific arm wrestling skills required to compete at a high level. So everyone seemed a little optimistic that Brian remains committed despite the criticism from the fans. Let's see if that actually happens or not. And finally, Artyom Morozov versus Ermes Gasparini. So everyone kind of sees Ermes as the favorite, but they're not ready to completely count Artyom Morozov out. Devon believes that prime Morozov, who he thinks showed up in a match against Alex Kurdecha, would be really dangerous for Ermes Gasparini. But the biggest question mark is, how well did he recover after the wrist surgery? Even though his right arm looks bigger and stronger, and it probably is, but still the surgery remains a question mark. And based on that alone, Devon thinks that Ermes should be the favorite. That's all we have for this video. Once again, use code Pradeep to purchase the pay-per-view. Please subscribe to the channel. I will see you again.